You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
First on film and entertainment, football season is here. Peter Krause, are you excited like I am?
I'm busy watching films.
No, you can do both. You can walk and chew gum. Can you not, Gregory King, who barracks for the team that never wins? Hello, Gregory.
Hello, Peter, and Alex and Jacqui.
And Jacqueline.
Good morning.
You're the sort of person who would go to the snow because you're a Melbourne supporter rather than watching the football. Is that true?
Oh, no, Alex. I'll go to the south of France. Thank you for the warm weather in the winter.
South of France.
I don't want the snow. But I get your joke. But
Thank you. Oh, very nice. Listen, I think I tell you what, it'd be damn hard being in Europe, given what's going on in the world. Oh boy, is America sort of? We've gone crazy. It's just I every morning when I wake up and I look at the news and I'm thinking, hang on, am I living in a parallel universe? Is it only me, Jacqui, or are you doing similarly?
No, I read the other day that Mr. Donald Trump is doing this time, in this time that he's president, what he actually wanted to do last time, but didn't quite get there. So last time he talked about it a lot, but there wasn't a lot of actual action. And in the interim, he's actually worked out how to do it. And that is, you just come in guns blazing and you just do it.
You just do it.
Putting people who will say yes to whatever you say, rather than last time you had people who would actually say, no, you can't do this, you can't do this.
True. Well, true.
Yeah.
It was the first thing he did was bring his cronies around him to make sure he would be backed up. Yeah.
There must be a film in the making here, Peter, don't you think, down the track?
The Apprentice 2.
The boss.
Yeah, I was going to say he's no longer an apprentice. Let me tell you that.
How about 7 Days in May?
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
I thought The Apprentice was actually a very fine film. I really enjoyed that. Seeing
It was
that
a good film, yeah.
part of his life where,
Yeah.
dramatized or written, of course, but, some of it might have been guesswork, but I think a lot of it, it sort of rang true, really. That part of his life where he went from being a kind of under his father's thumb to, stepping up and being told to step up and how to step up. And that's made him the man he is today.
I don't think he endorsed it, though, Jacqui.
No, he didn't. No, but he made lots of noises about suing them, which helped the film do quite well, I believe.
Well, it was nominated.
But he never did sue him.
No, he never did sue them, no.
The list of people who Donald Trump has threatened to sue is longer than
Well, is that a badge of honour, Greg, if somebody's threatened to be sued by...
Yeah, I think it must be. Given the number of people he's threatened to sue and never follow through with.
Well, I mean, bear in mind, what was the gentleman's name who was nominated for the Best Actor, Oscar? For
Sebastian Stan.
Yes.
Sebastian Stan, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking Jeremy Strong, wasn't it, who was played Roy Cohn?
And him too, yes, they're both nominated.
Very good, very good. Well, talking of films, there is an Australian movie which I reckon is going to divide us that I saw, and I thought, hey, lowest common denominator humour, but we must talk about it, and it's called Spit, and it runs for 102 minutes and is rated M. Now, do any of you remember Getting Square back in 2003, Greg? Do you?
Yes, and I didn't think it needed a sequel.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, and what about you, Peter?
I've also seen the original film, and I thought the sequel was very, very good.
Yeah, and this is where I reckon this is going to be split, no pun intended. Spit is going to be split down the middle. But anyway, they have dipped back into the well, the filmmakers, and they've reprised this iconic Australian character. And he's got a decent mullet, Peter, hasn't he? You know, I'm kind of envious because I'm losing my thatching, and I kind of need a little bit more. I keep telling my daughter that, who's got a lot of hair, but it's not helping me, right? And when I bent down the other day, I think I told you this story, Jacqui, she commented she was aghast at how little there was up top. What does one do about that, Greg? Any suggestions?
About what?
Oh,
Sorry?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's go back to the film.
it was a reference to my lack of hair on the head. It's all right.
Perhaps some fertilizer might help.
Some fertilizer. Okay, yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Alex Salt's a good line in fertiliser, so that should help.
Oh, very good. Now, okay, so the character we're talking about is Johnny Spiteri, a.k.a. Johnny Spit, hence the title Spit, played by David Wenham, who's a mighty fine actor. And he relishes in this role, I got to say. Really, he's sort of thrown himself in it. He's this sort of dishevelled man with a, what is it on his lip that he's got? It looks like a
Cold sore.
Yeah. No, anyway. Okay. So this is a new story, even though it sort of harks back to 2003 and Getting Square. And it brings together several of the actors and the key behind the scenes creatives from the movie that was released in the early noughties. So Gary Sweet is there, who again plays Chick Martin, the writer, Chris Nists, and the director, Jonathan Teplitsky, and as well as the cinematographer, Gary Phillips. I haven't named them all, but, you know, they're key players in all of this. So the Johnny Spit character, has been hiding overseas for a couple of decades, and he returns to Oz with a new identity. But he's still got that mullet that I spoke about, the unmistakable mullet, the skinny jeans and the thongs. And I should say that mullets are still being worn by modern AFL footballers. Does that make it any more legit? I don't know. But there you go. The idea of hair appeals. Having said that, Johnny is a small-time ex-crim, and he slips back into the country on a false passport. But he looks super sus. That initial scene is quite something. And he's busted on arrival in Queensland. And I've got no idea why, but he's sent to an immigration detention centre rather than to an Australian holding cell being a jail. But obviously at an immigration detention centre, there are lots of other detainees from around the world. And he seems to be the only Aussie. But anyway, his method of handling the authorities is a well-worn one. Deny, deny, deny. And the problem is that he has a massive target on his back. Johnny has old enemies, including the drug kingpin that I spoke of, Chick Martin. They've got scores to settle. And what he does, he struggles really to stay ahead, a step ahead, actually, of the marauding pack. So I suppose he's nothing if not resourceful. And he endears himself to the other detainees by teaching them his own brand of she'll be right, mate, English. And he gives all of them Aussie names. And he goes into partnership with one of them, a guy called Jihad Khalif, played by Arlo Green. And that partnership will, over time, prove to be quite useful. The reason that the authorities, or at least some of them, are after him is because they're looking to use him to bring down a crooked cop. So that's what it's all about. I thought it was very funny. And I went to the Classic to see it, and there was laughter ringing out throughout this movie from the patrons. But of course, humour's in the eyes and ears of the beholder. And I mentioned at the outset, some might suggest this is lowest common denominator material. A lot of buffoonery in play here. And I thought Wenham was quite endearing and hilarious as the evasive centrepiece, the dishevelled character that he played. He really nailed that role. He does slippery as a snake better than most. And the camera's trained on him for the lion's share of the time. And I thought the cleverness in Spit was in both the one-liners and also in the sight gags. And I was quite impressed by the warmth that Arlo Green imbued into his character, Jihad Khalif. He came across as quite natural, sort of authenticity being the key here. And Gary Sweetwell, he revels in the bad guy persona. You can see he loves playing mean. One of the noteworthy elements of this story is actually the diverse cast of characters that capitalise upon the larrikin humour. And there's a couple of scenes involving Maoris. They're memorable because of the formidable representation of them. But in truth, there are many memorable moments in the picture. And I was also impressed by the creativity of Gary Phillips' cinematography. He did The Railwayman as one of the movies that he was responsible for as cinematographer. I like the choices he made in this one. And basically, spit is feel-good entertainment. You find yourself sort of rooting for the underdog. So let's start with a good, apart from mine. Peter, what did you think?
I really liked it. I had a long chat to Chris Neist, that's how it's pronounced, who's the screenwriter of the original film, Getting Square, and of course now Spit, Johnny Spiteri's story. And he told me that even though they had nailed down a script and everything, David Wenham was very keen to improvise. So some of the very funny scenes of Wenham running and going up escalators and doing all sorts of other things was improvised completely by Wenham as the film was shot. Look, there's a lot of really funny humour, good Australian larrikin humour in this film. I don't accept that it's low humour or unpleasant humour or anything like that. I think it's very Australian, very clever. There are some very amusing moments that I really enjoyed in the film.
But it's lowbrow. I mean, it's not. We're not talking about intellectuals here.
It depends how you define lowbrow. I mean, some of it is satiric and some of it is slapstick, but so what? It's humour, and humour is going to have different impacts on different people. And I thought this worked very well.
Yeah,
and,
look, I mean, I think that it's worth mentioning, like, sometimes, you've got intellectual rigour and there's humour associated with that, and then you've got others that are bumbling characters, such as, in a sense, the Spit here, but obviously he's also, he's not without the intelligence of how to get out of circumstances, but he's still not, he's not a PhD in applied science. That's what I'm getting at.
And why does he need to be? I really don't understand the distinction.
Well, I don't think he needs to be, but I think there is a distinction because some people are going to go in, okay, you can see a spy movie, and we'll talk about one here today, which is very intelligent, but can you also see a spy movie which is very silly? And I think there is a distinction. Some people are going to go along to one and won't go along to another. That's all. That's the.
I think they'll go along because David Wenham is the star, because it's an Australian comedy, and because they'll enjoy a number of the set pieces. I really also like the way language was used to teach the migrants English. I thought that was quite amazing.
That's what we have to adopt at detention centres. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. That'll be a curriculum now.
She'll be right, mate. Everything's cool. Yeah, eh?
Well, that's Australian larrikinism.
It is. Well, it's what are those guys called? Mango. The three boys who run a restaurant.
Mango chutney or something.
No, not mango chutney.
Weren't they the kings of Moomba for some reason?
Yeah, they were. They were for a very good. Now I'm going to Google mango boys. No, it's. Oh, gee, there's two. I heard you. Come on, Greg, you're not helping here. Jacqui, you got no idea what I'm talking about. They've got 1.5 billion views or something. They've gone absolutely ape, and they also run a restaurant in Carlton. None of you can help. Somebody's listening to this and saying,
"Do they have lots of followers who pick up wombats?"
Yeah. She hit back this morning. I don't know whether you've heard.
No.
She's actually had a go, right? Basically saying we should look at our own backyard. Sushi mango. S-double-I. Yeah, mango chutney. Like, that's like, yeah.
Sushi life. I knew sushi.
Yeah, we're sort of close to Africa, aren't we, Peter? In your geography. Yeah, Africa just next door. Sushi mango. Very funny guys, right? And they sort of go with the traditional European, Italian type humour. And
if I borrow a cup of coffee.
Pardon me?
if Africa's just next door, I hate to have to walk there to just to buy a cup of sugar.
That was the reference to Peter saying I got close with mango chutney. That was it. Very good. I think we've gone right away from humour, but we're back to spit. Yeah, okay. So by all means, keep going. Is there other things you would like to say about this movie?
No, I just want to say I like the film very much, and I'm hoping, when I spoke to Chris, that there might even be another follow-up.
Oh, you know who's going to really like that? Somebody who's here with us today, which is Jacqueline Hamilton. She thinks this is sliced bread on a stick. You love this, don't you, Jacqui? Just go for it.
I really liked Getting Square. I don't remember the detail of the film, but I remember that I really enjoyed it. I think I keep dropping out. Have I dropped out? Hello?
No, hello, you are.
Oh, I haven't. Okay. I've had some trouble with the call. It keeps saying poor connection and dropping out. But anyway, I'll just continue to rattle on. And if you miss my pearls of wisdom, well, there you go. But anyway, maybe Spit was a decent character in a small role in another film a while ago. But to have his own movie did not work for me. You used words like endearing.
Yes.
And hilarious.
Yes.
And I didn't see the same thing at all.
You hope to see it at least twice then, Jacqui. See it again. See it third time, eh?
I've got a life, thank you. And I certainly, you've mentioned, and I only heard very little what you said. I'm sorry, as I say, that I just missed most of what you've said. But I did hear you say that there was some improvisation, and I could have told you that because it.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Certainly looked like that. And the thing about a laconic Aussie character is that it seemed to be it made the film laconic and slow. So the humour didn't go bam, bam, bam. It was drawn out, too long, too tedious. For example, I'll give you a couple of examples. One was the scene with the migrants, teaching them what their Aussie monikers would be. So, whatever this long, convoluted foreign name, exotic name we might say might be, it came down to Wazza or Gaza or, And I mean, you can say a couple of those, but did we really need to go through every single one of them and with the same, slow thinking about it? It dragged out. And I actually find quite a lot of Australian so-called humour does that. It just labours the point to where it's just not funny anymore because the next one, is not going to be any more clever than the last one. So anyway, that's one example. So I didn't really love this film at all. But I mean, I didn't mind the character, but it was just too much of it. And also, I kept looking at him as David Wenham. I didn't say, "Oh, this is David Wenham," playing an oddball character sort of thing. He wasn't. He was too recognisable, I think.
It's interesting. If this was up for, obviously, it's probably too late for the. Whatever the Australian Academy Awards are.
The actors, yeah.
Yeah, I would have actually had him up there. I reckon he absolutely deserves it for this. I thought it was a ripper of a role.
Well, I think he did. I think he did what he was asked to do. I think he did what the character was. Exactly. But it just the whole film just didn't work for me. It just wasn't funny for me.
Okay, I thought it was very funny. Greg, do you have any? You're more in Jacqui's camp?
I thought our recent discussion on that was more funny than this film, actually. I didn't I didn't enjoy this much at all. And unlike you guys, when I went to the cinema, I said I was the only person in cinema, which makes it even harder to judge the result impact of the humour because you're now.
Maybe that's saying something about you, Greg. I'm just kidding.
No, but I thought there is a lack of subtlety and nuance to some of the characters, particularly David Phil's corrupt cop. I thought a lot of the humour was cringeworthy, reminiscent of some of those lame ass comedies we made in the 70s there. It was just cringeworthy. I agree that David Wenham might have done a reasonable job there as the disheveled dumb criminal, but as I said before, I didn't think Getting Square needed a sequel, especially one 20 years later. So, yeah, no, I didn't.
We've seen that.
I didn't really enjoy this one at all.
Bear in mind, we've seen this, though. I mean, we saw a sequel to Top Gun how many years after?
Yeah, but can't compare sequels to different types of films. This one just didn't work for me.
No, fair. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, so you and Jacqui are in a bad boy and girl corner.
Yeah. Well, I thought Wenham's character was grating too, rather than funny.
Okay, so let's get some scores for Spit, 102 minutes M rated, and let's start at the lowest common denominator. So, Jacqui.
Yes, well, I will add a couple of words to that because I was struggling with the technology just earlier, and I wanted to agree with Greg that one of the things I would have said about it would be that it was so cliched, but it was so cliched based on trying to be kind of vintage retro to kind of a 1990s TV show or something that it wasn't needed. So it didn't have any kind of fresh feel to it. Nothing to me. They were, really cliched roles, the corrupt cops and all that. And so that was another point I would make about the whole film. Although I will say I liked the migrants. I thought they were terrific characters and given quite strong roles too, which I applaud. Enjoyed them. Spit, the film, a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Wow.
Yep, it's a fail. Well, if it's comedy, you got to be able to laugh, right? Well, we didn't laugh.
Okay. Wow. Okay. What about you, Greg?
Is that okay?
Pretty much the same. I thought some of the treatment of the migrants was actually borderline offensive.
Okay. Right.
In my opinion. There you go. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 10 too.
Okay. Right. Peter.
Well, I'm going to disagree vehemently with both of you. I found it funny. I found it a good example of Australian larrikin humour. I thought there was some very funny set pieces. I thought it was very not offensive to migrants. I thought it was very positive. And in fact, that's the way the story does develop. And David Wenham is a real showstopper in the film. And I really loved it. 7 out of 10.
And I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. We've never had quite. I mean, this is identical scores at both levels, right?
Yeah.
So I honestly, in all the years we've done this, how many years have we done this, Jacqui? How long has the show been going?
127 years.
No. Well, that's a drop in the bucket for you. You were born when Adam was a kid, so I mean, but. In all these years, we've never had two identical scores at either ends of the spectrum. So, basically it means that that Jacqui and Greg are wrong, doesn't it, Peter?
The new recalcitrants.
The new recalcitrants, exactly.
I may be wrong. I may be right. It may be a lunatic you're looking for.
Thank you. Which song is that from?
Billy Joel.
Oh, is it? What's the name of the song?
You may be right.
Oh,
which was ironically the song he was performing at Madison Square Garden when he had a little accident.
That was bad because you realise he's had an operation since, so it must have been.
And had to cancel shows and everything. So yeah, a bit sad.
Yeah, very sad. I mean, because I've seen it a couple of times on YouTube, and whilst it looked bad, it looked reasonably innocuous, but clearly it wasn't. So yeah, I don't think we know why the ops have been performed, do we? I certainly am not aware of it. But yeah, we wish with Billy Joel all the best to come back. All right, let's go on J88 FM. If you want to contribute, please, $54 gets you membership. Just get to j-air.com.au, and we love having our members because that's what community radio is all about. So let's go from one to another where I dare say we are all going to like this. Okay, I'm putting it out there. Black Bag. What a super intelligent British spy thriller it is. And I tell you what, some good characters and really fine acting as well. George Woodhouse is played by Michael Fassbender, and he is an elite operative at a British establishment called the National Cyber Security Centre, NCSC, National Cyber Security Centre. He can't stand liars, and he seeks them out and exposes them. And that happens to have included his own father. Now, there appears to be a mole in the ranks of this organisation, and he's tasked with uncovering that infiltrator before they can activate a destructive cyber worm called Severus. And that is malware that can destabilise a nuclear facility. Now, there are 5 suspects, and they include his beloved wife, Catherine St. Jean, played by Cate Blanchett, our very own, who is one of NCSC's most powerful and trusted agents. And in fact, she is George Woodhouse's one big weakness, because whatever she wants, she gets, and vice versa kind of thing in the relationship that they have. Also in this mix is Freddie Smalls. Tom Burke, who's a fine actor. He is an inveterate Mormonizer who's been with a younger fellow operative, a tech whiz called Clarissa Dubose, played by Marissa Abella, for 18 months, right? So they're in a physical relationship, which is rather fraught, I've got to say. But she, in turn, has a penchant for older men. And then there's the agency psychologist, Dr. Zoe Vaughan. Naomi Harris plays her, and she happens to enjoy erotic fiction. She's been getting up close and personal with a rising star in the organisation, Colonel James Stokes, Reggie Jean Page. Woodhouse's first salvo to get to the truth comes via a dinner invitation to the quintet, in which he does the cooking and he adds a little something extra. Once lips are loosened, he asks each of them to participate in a game in which they're charged with making a resolution. You know, you got New Year's resolutions. Well, this is a resolution for the person sitting to their right. So they make a resolution on their behalf. And that sparks the first in a series of revelations. Much later in the movie, there's also going to be a lie detector test. So, as I said, most sophisticated and intense spy thriller is Black Bag, and in which the identity of the rat remains well disguised. So getting to the heart of the truth is no walk in the park. Really well conceived, written, acted and directed. Steven Soderbergh is the guy in charge, proves yet again what a master filmmaker he is. It's the third time he's actually teamed with the writer David Koepp, and they worked together recently, actually, on Presence and Kimmy. I think they've known each other for about 30 years. Isn't that true? That's what I read somewhere. But the characters are all very, very smart people trying to outsmart each other. So Michael Fassbender, perfectly cast in a straight as a die role, which requires his intellectual prowess to shine. Cop, well, he's exploited the quirks, the peccadillos, the vulnerabilities, plural, of the players in this one, and weaving a rather twisted tale as the writer of the piece. And the focus moves from one to the other. Tom Burke's another standout as a dedicated agent whose predilections make him susceptible, and on it goes. There's a wickedly twisted, playful streak about Clarissa Abella, who was in a really good film, Back to Black, and she plays Clarissa Dubose. And then Cate Blanchett.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Is Catherine St. Jean with a sense of entitlement. And then Pierce Brosnan also pops up with a confident air as the agency head, Arthur Stiglitz. In fact, one of the traits that characterises all of them is self-belief. And I also like the musical choices by David Holmes that accompanied this sort of cat and mouse concoction. And I should say, because when I read Black Bag, and Black Bag seems to be an out, it's sort of like a secret word. Well, Greg, you've gone to the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C., haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And I've been there too. And
Spent a lot of time in the bookshop, but
yeah. Well, there was wasn't there was it the Code of Silence, or was it the phone, the
shoe phone, Maxwell's shoe phone.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the International Spy Museum. Anyway, according to the International Spy Museum, Black Bag refers to secret entry to steal or copy materials.
Yeah, like the Watergate thing was a black bag job. When they broke into the water.
So were you familiar with the term? Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Were you, Jacqui, or have you seen this one?
No, and I'm hearing for the first time that it was is it a kind of a generic term, is it? I thought it just related to
typecraft, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was made up for this film.
No, I've read enough spy thrillers to come across.
Oh, yes, you would have, Greg.
Yeah, I like you, Jacqui, thought the same thing. What about you, well-read individual who was born when Adam was a boy? Did you know the term? Did you know the term black bag? Did you?
No, I didn't. I thought it was a reference to something or other, but that's okay. I'm more interested in the Stasi Museum that I visited in Germany, which looks at how they spied on people, and that was absolutely incredible.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I went to the Russian one where you literally go down. There's a door, and you go down in a lift. And oh my golly, talk about the Cold War. So I'm presuming yours was a similar type experience, Peter?
Not quite. It was more a standard sort of display, but it looked at real life examples of people telling their stories about being spied on and being arrested. Quite incredible story about the Stasi. The lives of others sort of demonstrated that.
Well, in my case, I believe this was I think it was real. I think it was exactly as it was in the Cold War era, but I could be mistaken. But Nadine and I, my wife and I, found it really extraordinary, because I mean, we went to Russia obviously before, many years before the current situation. We've been there a couple of times, and we were very surprised that Moscow is very modern. City, St. Petersburg, the architecture is stunning, right? I mean, but obviously, that in terms of what's going on now, it's terrible. The Ukraine war and so on. But look, Black Bag, the movie, undoubtedly hits the right notes. It's a real beauty. It keeps you guessing. And I thought it was thoroughly delectable. I really appreciated it. And we got a very late invite. I'm very grateful that that invite came along. So, Greg, tell me about your views of Black Bag.
Okay. Well, despite the fact that this stars a couple of people from the Bond universe with Pierce Brosnan and Naomi Harris, this is actually a more stylish literary spy movie. It's more like akin to the fiction of John le Carré or Len Deighton. So rather than car chases and gunfights that are the staple of those kind of films, here we get into the nitty-gritty of intelligence work there, the personality of spies. It's a very dialogue-driven film, but when a couple of action sequences or violence happen, it is sudden and shocking. It's got a great cast there. Michael Fassbender's character with his horn-rimmed glasses and everything remind me a little bit of George Smiley, and also the Michael Caine character, Harry Palmer, from films like The Ipcress File and everything there. Very dialogue-driven, great production design, I thought, especially the design of the National Cyber Security Centre offices there. Very open, very bright. And
yes.
The design of George's house there is also very spacious. So the design is all good. And the way the film opens with that long tracking shot that follows George down the street and into this nightclub where he has his covert meeting with an informant who dies soon afterwards is also a strong way to open the film. Good performances from the cast, I thought. there. They all had well-developed personalities there.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Yeah, and I thought it was really well done. Even though there's not a lot of action in it, it's still quite intriguing.
Oh, exactly. Very much intriguing. And again, it's funny. We talked about humour at the start of this and the different forms of humour. See, Peter, to me, this is a really intelligent form of spy thriller. And again, with a very intelligent script and so on and so forth. So, you know, you can get silly spy films as well. I mean, this is not based on humour, although there is some, there is a lot of playing around with one another in this, isn't there, Peter?
There is. This certainly is not Carry On Spying. It's not that type of film. It's a very contained film, and that's what's so good about it. David Cope is such a good writer. I mean, he wrote The Paper and Apartment Zero and even Jurassic Park. So it's always about the script, and that's where Soderbergh didn't have to do a great deal in terms of directing the film because the script spoke for itself. Yes, well acted, well cast, some nice little twists here and there, a good solid spy film, but I wouldn't say it's brilliant or fantastic, but I liked it. I thought it was well done.
Oh, okay. I'm disappointed that you didn't enjoy it more. When was the last really good spy film we've seen? Does anybody in your profit? Yeah.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Skyfall.
Yeah, Skyfall's good. Yeah,
I mean, there's lots of spy films of differing types, but yeah, no, I liked Black Bag. I just didn't think it was that fantastic. It's one of those films that will go straight to streaming very quickly.
Oh, okay. It's interesting you say that. I actually think it really stands out, quite frankly. Jacqui, you said you didn't see this one, correct? Yet?
No, I have. I saw it last night, actually.
Excellent. Oh, well, you've got a fresh take on it. So, yeah.
I do.
Did you enjoy it?
Very much. Right from the start, it had that Mr. and Mrs. Smith feel to it, of the spy married couple in a spy situation. But it didn't have all the action. And it didn't need it because it was all about the dialogue, so much so that I felt the narrative and the dialogue like it felt it came from a book. And I believe it didn't. So, there you go. But that's how well written it was. And I agree with Peter that was it Pete or Greg, that you start with a good script and you're more likely to have a really good film. So, and yet, even though it was beautifully written, it wasn't a thriller that was overly convoluted. Like they didn't have to feed in all these red herrings and all that sort of stuff. Instead, it was more about everybody having secrets and even secrets that other people knew. Some of the secrets of the others in an Agatha Christie kind of way almost. But we don't know it all until it's slowly revealed, as is the actual plot slowly revealed. And I really enjoyed the way it kind of leached out. That was really good. I thought all the characters were great, except I wasn't so keen on the character playing James. Was it? I just found some of the dialogue was a bit muffled, and not in the dinner parties though. The dinner parties, these are the dinner parties I don't want to be invited to. I'd go to be a fly on the wall.
How surprising. Yes.
Listen to the discussion, but I don't want to be a part of a dinner party like that. Thank you very much.
I'm very disappointed to hear that, Jacqui. I really. So we're talking about you're talking about the chap that Colonel James Stokes, the Reggie Jean Page character, who is
Yes,
rising star within
that's
the
right. Did you find that too? Did you find him difficult to? There was a particular scene where they're out on the. He's with the Michael Fassbender, what
Yes.
character's name, and they're going out. He's at the back of the car, and they're having a conversation there, and there just seemed to be something wrong with the post production or something.
Oh, really? No. I got to say, I didn't. I just thought the characters were well drawn. We could have had a little bit more of him, actually. I think, but overall, so
Well, I went off him because of that. But the characters that really, really did it for me were the matching of Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender as a married couple with a real bit of passion in their marriage, and to see them, you know, in their personal lives and their domestic situation and romantic situation and at work and hosting these dinner parties, to see them, I just thought they were fantastic as a couple. I mean, that's a great spot of casting there. Did you think that?
yeah, I did. I thought they were good. I mentioned Marissa Abella. I reckon that she's a rising star. We're going to see more of her because I think she made the most of quite a complex character. It was a bit twisted. I thought she was really good too. I look, Cate Blanchett. I mean, she's a mighty fine actor, and you think about the diversity of performance that she's put in over the distance. But obviously, what was the last?
I thought she looked like Sandy in this film.
She did. I agree.
High cheekbones and I wanted to say that to Sandy, our colleague, our fellow reviewer Sandy, who's not with us today.
Yeah,
But I thought Cate, she just every time, the high cheekbones and that, she had a real Sandy face.
Well, there you go. But what was the recent movie that came and went with Cate Blanchett? Do you guys remember? It was only here for, it didn't do well.
Yeah, it was a political thriller about meeting.
Yeah, did you see, Peter?
Yes, I did. I'm trying to remember what the title was.
And was it average or?
It was unusual. It had a centerpiece of a brain, and it dealt with the idea of the potential destruction of the world.
It's a unique concept, the potential destruction of the world.
Yes,
It was called Rumours.
Rumours. Thank you.
Oh, very good. Very good. All right. So let's get some scores. Jacqui, you start off with Black Bag, which is a rated M. It runs for 93 minutes. Yay. A great short movie. Out of 10, Jacqueline. Hello. Are you there? What is going on? She's disappeared.
Sorry, I've just got this poor connection going on again. I'm really sorry. Do you want my score? It's 7.5 out of 10.
Good on you. Okay, Gregory King.
Yeah, I'll give it 7 to 7.5 out of 10 as well. It's a lean, mean script, which and economical.
Excellent. And Peter.
Yeah, I quite liked it. Not as high as both of you. I gave it 6 out of 10.
Well, you're wrong. You've gone back to the recalcitrant corner, and it's an 8 out of 10 for mine. Well, a really good movie, unexpected, just sort of dropped, and please go along and see it. Well worth your coin, I reckon. I mean, it's all about which coin do you pay for, which movies do you pay for. This is it's certainly better than average. Now, talking about one that spent a lot of money in coin, but has not lived up to expectations, and I was very disappointed when I saw it and thought, what the hell is going on? You can see where they've put the money, but it's not on the scripting. It's called Mickey 17. I get confused with the actress that won the Oscar. That's where it hasn't got a C. Mickey 17 runs far too long. Keeps on going, and it then keeps on going. 2 hours, 17 minutes, rated M. Now,
It reminds me of Alex talking about the football.
Yeah.
The Bombers, a good effort, Jacqui, wouldn't you say?
I shouldn't have said that.
Wouldn't you say that?
No,
Where's the jump button?
I reckon the Carlton fans would be absolutely distraught. It warms the cockles as somebody.
Hey, listen, I was making a one-line joke there. It was
No, this is going to go on for at least.
Launch you back into a discussion. I regret it already.
Yeah, no, regret it all you want. We can talk about football till the cows come home. Are you interested in the Sheffield Shield final that's coming up as well?
Sorry, Peter. Sorry.
Not interested in softball.
Sorry, Peter.
Yeah, well,
And it's ridiculous that the football season started before we even had the Sheffield Shield final.
yeah, and they can't play it where they want to play it. They've got to go to a Karen Rolton, I think, is the oval that they're playing it in rather than the Adelaide Oval because and they could, and the South Australian Premier got involved, Greg, and even he couldn't solve it. So
Moving right along.
what we weren't actually, Peter. You want to talk about a bit more about football, do you? We can do that. 18 teams, you know.
We need to talk about the 17 Mickeys.
The 70, yeah, we'll take the Mickey out of it.
18 actually, because there's 18. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2054 in this movie.
Yep.
And Earth's in trouble, isn't it? And droves of people are taking up the opportunity for interplanetary relocation. That's my term anyway. And a man who's gotten himself into all sorts of trouble, financially destitute, is Mickey Barnes, played by Robert Pattinson. Now, without digging too deeply, he seizes the chance to start afresh as a new human colony is about to start populating on a planet called Nilfheim. And those behind the initiative are a former congressman, supercilious though he is, Kenneth Marshall is his name, played by Mark Ruffalo, and his scheming wife, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, her name rather, YLFA, Yulfa, something like that. Toni Collette, yes, our own Toni Collette. So Mickey signs up to become what's known as an expendable. And that's not the Expendables as in the movie. That means he'll be given all the dangerous tasks in...
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
this hostile, freezing environment that the new planet is located in, or the planet that they're going to. Now, when he dies, which he does a lot, he'll be reprinted, another word for cloned, again and again. And the one person who is sympathetic to him is an elite agent called Nasha, played by Naomi Ackie. And she is, when I say an elite agent, she's a soldier, she's a policewoman, she's a firefighter, she can do no wrong. And he regards her as his soulmate. Now, as Greg said, we're up to the 17th iteration of Mickey, when he's incorrectly assumed to be dead again and prematurely replaced. So suddenly we have both Mickey 17 and Mickey 18, and they don't see eye to eye. And then to add fuel to the fire, a woman other than Nasha shows more than a passing interest in Mickey. So there's, interpersonal relationships at stake here as well. But the real enemies are the oppressive leaders governing the colony. Now, like most movies, I went into Mickey 17 blind, not knowing anything about it. And I emerged after those 2 hours and 17 minutes feeling let down, disappointed. Why? Because what I saw was this overextended political satire that lacks substance and appeal. Notwithstanding the brilliance of the writer and director Bong Joon-ho's last film, which was the Oscar-winning Parasite, this one suffers from average writing and direction. The longer it went, the more I wanted it to end. And there's only really so much of a bad thing I could take. The movie is actually based on the novel Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. So I reckon if it was called Mickey 7, it wouldn't have to run for 2 hours, 17 minutes. Anyway, Robert Pattinson, well, he does most of the heavy lifting, makes a decent fist of it. Yeah, plays opposite himself and, makes it. He's the centerpiece of the film. Mark Ruffalo is but a pompous buffoon with bad teeth. Toni Collette, full of expression as his manipulative better half. Naomi Ackie, well, she has her moments, although I can't say that she seemed all that stretched. Now, one thing I should say about Mickey 17 is that in Dune we got sandworms. Here we have what are termed creepers, and they're kind of like large caterpillars or armadillos. I don't know, call it what you will, but that's what they are. So enough said. Frankly, I found the whole thing too silly. I mean, Jacqui, have you seen this or you've avoided it? Hello, are you still there, Jacqui? Maybe she's gone. Okay. Or maybe she's not there anymore. Having said all of that, what about you, Peter? What did you think of it?
Yes, I was disappointed. Bong Joon-ho is such a good filmmaker. I mean, Okja as Snowpiercer, Parasite, as you've mentioned. This one, he's been given too big a budget, and the adaptation of the original novel, not that I've read it, seems to be rather odd and at cross purposes. For example, why is there only one person being replicated? I didn't understand that process, because you would think that if they want to take people away from the planet and go elsewhere, that they'd be working on lots of people and replicating them and remodeling them and keeping their memories and all that sort of thing. The other thing that annoyed me is that the yin and yang of Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 got on my nerves, because it was just so stupid and ridiculous at times. So there was a lot to disappoint me. I know the film was optimized for IMAX, and that's where we saw it at a previous screening. And because it was optimized for IMAX, it actually looked a bit grayer and a bit murkier than perhaps if it was on a stand. I'm getting all this noise in the background.
Yes, so am I. Jacqui, are you rearranging the furniture, or what is that?
Or assembling it.
Or Greg, are you doing Meccano, or what's going on here?
I'm not doing anything.
Okay, Jacqui, can you hear us?
Jacqui, can
Oh, yeah, but in and out, on and off, in and out, on and off. I didn't see.
Oh, Jacqui,
didn't see it. Okay,
didn't
all right.
know. But
Anyway,
anyway,
T17 was a disappointment for me. I would have liked a much stronger film. Groundhog Day did it better in some respects. I wasn't a great fan of this one.
But you asked about the cloning and why there weren't more. Well,
Yes.
bear in mind that there were. I got the impression there weren't many Expendables, right? That's what Mickey was. So you're only cloning the Expendables because they die. So, I mean, I kind of got that, but they obviously focused on one, and it wasn't as if there was a troop of Expendables.
Yeah,
So-
but if it was so urgent, then they would have had many more being created, and that we would see that process. By the way, Mark Ruffalo's character is a ridiculous Trumpian type character, and Toni Collette is wasted in the film.
Yeah. Jacqui, are you moving around? Jacqui, can you hear us?
No, it's my. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but there's a lot of
Hello.
different hash, and we're wondering.
I'm sorry. That's my puppy.
That's your puppy. What is it? A Great Dane? Is it? I mean, is it a rhinoceros? Is it?
Well, look,
So what's the dog's name? Now the dog's part of this podcast, part of the radio.
No. Yeah, Mrs. Pippa, she's just giving her opinion of the tennis ball.
Pippa, can you go quietly and play with that ball? Maybe about houses away.
I'm sorry to tell you this, that she actually can't go quietly, so I'm just going to leave the room. I do apologise for that, and I was hoping it wasn't.
No, we thought there were. I mean, I was worried because, let's be honest, Peter lives in a paper-thin house that abuts the Grand Prix track. What's happening up the Grand Prix as we're speaking? Yeah,
I'm just watching. There are 2 helicopters trying to land at the moment, and the actual Grand Prix races don't start until the afternoon. But hopefully with the noise suppression that I've pressed on Skype, you can't hear all of that.
You're fine. I mean, maybe you can hitch a ride with the helicopter pilot and give us a
bird's view.
bird's eye view of the ground conditions, and
Or a dog's eye view, yes.
a dog's eye view, exactly. No, that's no. All right. So you've said all you wanted to say about.
Yes, I was disappointed.
What about you, Gregory?
Oh, look, this is a film of interesting ideas, but not all of them clicked. It's a black comic sci-fi film. It explores some big themes like cloning, science, colonization, space exploration, religious fanaticism, and all that kind of stuff. But not, as I said, not all the ideas are fully developed there. The Trumpian allegory with Mark Ruffalo's character is a bit obvious and heavy-handed at times. Yeah. Some of the special effects are really good, I thought, that they create this other world. The cinematography, I thought, was also quite good of this other world that's snow-covered, and the creepers. Most of it's $200 million budget can be seen on the screen there. And I like the way now, remember back in the 50s and 60s in those TV shows when some character was playing a twin and they were always positioned near a doorway so they could have that line down the screen and play opposite each other. At least the special effects and visual effects have come a long way now so that you're going to actually have Robert Pattinson interact credibly with his other self there on screen. So that works well, I thought. I thought he did a good job of playing dual personalities there. He gave each one slightly different physical appearance and look with little subtle nuances and gestures and that. So I thought that worked well as well. I thought Bong Joon-ho directed with a bit of energy and flair there, emphasising the black humour where possible. So look, it had some interesting ideas, and it includes all sorts of elements from some of his other films as well, like the dystopian Snowpiercer and the political social satire and social commentary. The Parasite all play here as well. I agree, though, it is a little bit bloated, with a lot of intertwined subplots, some of which don't go anywhere, and it could have been tightened up in the editing suite.
Yeah. So what are you going to give it out of 10, Greg?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 for Mickey 17, which runs for 2 hours, 17 minutes. Rated M. And Peter Krause?
I gave it 5 out of 10.
You're spot on today, Peter. Not all the time, but sometimes. So, yeah, I'm giving it a 5 as well. I get excited when I get invited to IMAX. I think it's a brilliant venue. It's my favourite cinema, and it's all well and good to spend $200 million. That's US, I think, on a movie, but you've got to have a decent script, don't you? But, I think that's all. Why is somebody ringing me while I'm on air? Don't they know how important it is that we get our thoughts out about the mighty fighting Essendon football machine? That's a third reference to football. Are you appreciative of that, Greg?
You're kicking goals today, Alex.
Oh, very good, Gregory. Now, we've got to go, but I've got to say, folks, please, if you haven't seen Hard Truths, that's the other film we were going to talk about, but we'll run out of time. That is well worth.
If you hadn't talked football, we might have got to it.
Yes.
No, football much more important. No, equally important. Hard Truths. What a strong film and a brilliant performance. And I actually felt very sorry for the lead around whom the whole movie gravitates. I thought she deserved a nomination for Best Actress. And I'm talking about Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Lovely name too. Very fine actor. And what a character, eh? I mean, really something different. So if you get the chance, it was on as part of the British Film Festival. It's only a 97-minute movie. It's rated M. And it's a combination of shock, horror, and sympathy. There's a bleakness, an undoubted bleakness about Hard Truths, but it's also compelling. It's kind of like watching a train wreck unfold, and that's where the shock, horror, and sympathy come in. So,
well, that might be Alex's opinion, perhaps.
Again, you can be wrong, Jacqui. Are you going to be wrong again? Yeah.
Possibly.
Oh, good. Well, we'll have to talk about that on another occasion. Well, okay, very briefly then, we'll really run out of time, but what would you have given it out of 10, Jacqui, quickly? Hard Truths?
I think I gave it 6, but it was because I didn't find it entertainment, and I didn't leave the cinema feeling happier.
Entertained.
Or happy. Yeah.
What was your score out of 10 for Hard Truths?
For me, yes, another great Mike Leigh film, 8 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, but perfect. That's 3 out of 3 for you today, 3 out of 4. And what about you, Greg?
6 out of 10.
So again, split the same. My golly, what is today all about? We're going to stop. We're quitting while we're ahead. Go mighty fighting Essendon football machine. You go for it, boys. That's it for footy season. Oh, I'm so excited. We'll see you soon. First on Film and Entertainment. Signing off. Thank you guys for your contributions.